Just 8 days ago, there were thousands of people right here to see President Trump at Cecil Airport. It's unlikely that those supporters came in direct extended contact with the president, but Dr. Vinci Samuel with Baptist Health tells me if someone did, they'd want to call their doctor and see what their next step should be.
If they were exposed to somebody who was positive 8 days ago, typically by now, if they're going to develop symptoms, they probably have already started developing those symptoms.
Dr. Vinci Samuel is an epidemiologist and an infectious disease prevention specialist. She says gathering in large crowds without masks or social distancing puts you at high risk for catching COVID-19. And that's exactly what we saw last week during Trump's campaign stop in Jacksonville. The New York Times is reporting that the president is showing mild symptoms. A letter from the White House physician says both the president and the First Lady are doing well and staying at the White House in isolation. But for how long will they have to quarantine?
CDC follows the symptom-based strategy. So once your symptoms start, you look for 10 days after your symptoms started and 24 hours after your symptoms have improved and your fever has resolved without the use of any fever-reducing medications. And that may be for most people that have a mild or moderate illness. Now, if you have a more severe illness or if you're immunocompromised, then you're looking at 20 days from when your symptoms first started.
President Trump's campaign has a long list of rallies scheduled before Election Day, similar to the one that you saw here last week. But they had one in Sanford, Florida, scheduled for today, and that one had to be canceled. In West Jacksonville, Leah Shields, First Coast News on your side.